Welcome to the January 2022 anime podcast for Outpost 1018. I hope everyone is having a good night. I hope everyone had a good January. Um, I sure as hell did, and I'm sure everyone else here did. And, just as an aside, somebody post the link to
Oh,
this stream in the
got it.
chat so I can
I
link
will.
it.
I got it.
But anyway, why don't everyone introduce yourselves? I am, of course, Neo Tokyo Tempo.
I am Getsuryu or Josh. Wait, that's not the link. Yep, that's the link. There you go. Just Google. No.
Yeah,
Come on.
I got
I'm
the
sure.
link.
You got it. Go
I'm
for it.
sure will pop up. Continue introducing yourselves.
My name's RJ. I'm Baron. I've changed the variation of Baron several times. I'm just Baron.
Don't
Neko,
be shy. There we
welcome
go.
to hell.
This is Louis. I go by Striker Red as well. And it's been 2 years, hasn't it? 2 months, my bad, since December.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we haven't done a podcast the past month because
Yeah, so-
scheduling around Christmas is very difficult. Scheduling around New Year's is very difficult. And we've had
purgatory.
trouble with that in the past, so we decided we're just not going to do it. So we took a month off.
I hope the people watching your year started with a banger. You know.
Oh yes, ours sure as hell did.
Oh,
Anyway,
it did.
speaking of bangers, total bangers, this month we watched MD Geist, both OVAs. And MD Geist was an OVA made in the year of our Lord 1986, and the second one made 10 years later in 1996, and it involved I don't know. I watched it and I cannot really describe the show
I'm gonna
well.
I
Why
have an
why don't
idea.
you describe it?
No. I have an idea. Let's spend just exactly a minute and a half letting everyone just give a description of what they think it is, and then I'll show you how badly put together and how badly
All
explained
right.
the story
How
is.
about this? 20 words or less.
Oh, God.
I will call on each of you.
Alright.
RJ.
Huh? Who went? Who's going?
You.
Okay. Before I describe it, real quick.
That was
Kurt
like
Russell-
8 words.
God damn! Hold on. Before I describe it, Kurt Russell starred in a movie that's near identical. It was released in the 90s called Soldier, which takes place in the Blade Runner universe. Just thought to share that. But anyways, now to describe MD Geist.
20 words or less.
Autistic warrior dedicated to killing in the name of the country he loves, but also Wall Street corporations and Terminators.
Josh.
Japan's very poor take on American action movies done too quick.
Neko.
Ex-soldier seeking revenge upon his enemies, trying to not have sex with a woman while blasting a tower of the Death Force.
Striker.
Autistic, genetically modified soldier, too angry to fucking die.
All right.
It's accurate.
Wait.
I'll take a crack at this.
Wait a second. Now I know exactly how Bethesda made
wait,
Doom
Neko,
2016.
All right, I'll take a crack at this.
Hey, really
Guy
quick, Josh, really
Rides
quick.
motorcycle and destroys the world.
Post this for a second. Click on the stream. Yeah, show that robot. Okay, I must quickly say this. When Neko said, this guy is angry and he wants to kill his enemies, my mind immediately like my brain did a fucking Google search in its fucking memory banks, and it's like, oh yeah, Megas XLR episode. They find a Nixon era Richard Nixon era death robot that the U.S. just abandoned in the middle of Area 51, and it's destroying everything, and it's just yelling, "I must destroy the enemy for America." The main character's like, "Who's the enemy?" And the robot just thinks to itself, everyone is the enemy. Everything is the enemy. He just
All right, let's
the
actually get into the meat and potatoes before we waste too much time.
1 second. This comparison, the fucking Spangle, the song. I can't pronounce it right now. Star Spangled Banner. That's playing in the background while he's saying that. Geist, if you notice, he's loyal as hell to his country, but everything is the enemy.
It's not even the country. It's just he got ejected out of the whole thing. Well, we're gonna go in the story of that thing, but just like this is so 80s, and it's so bad. Okay.
All right, yeah. Let's actually get into the meat and potatoes. I'm actually going to start with the animation. I like to bounce it off other people normally, but I have a few things to say right away. And first of all, this, if you're like a retro animation, not like good anime fan, but like if you like really like retro animation.
There you go. Was that what you wanted?
This.
What did you look at the stream really quick?
But anyway, if you're like a retro animation fan, this show, it'll be a little bit pleasing, but because this was in an era before they started putting 3D CGI and everything, and they have a lot of very detailed animations of mechs and very complicated mechanical objects, all hand drawn, nothing in a computer, and that aspect of it looks very, very, very good.
You can go ahead and remove the thing, by the way, Josh.
All right.
There is a little bit of jank to the animation, especially in the first OVA, but that's rather expected for the time. It's actually, I think it's a lot less jank than other stuff that was more popular and better overall than this show, than this OVA. But it is, I don't know, overall it's quite good. There is a lot of gore, especially in the second one.
But fuck yeah.
You see some in the first one. There's things like eyeballs popping out. There's things like intestines and brains flying everywhere.
Director's cut, they're showing like the Earth. When I say country, Earth Federation soldiers fighting the Wall Street soldiers that are in mechs, and they're just getting slaughtered because they're humans fighting mechs. They're like, and then the fucking mechs like just stomps on one of them, and his fucking guts pop out like a fucking so like a can of soda getting like stomped on by a fucking pressure, whatever those things are.
Yeah, I think modern anime really, really doesn't have the balls to do that.
Nope.
I mean, yeah, mostly because of censors and, well, let's be honest here, not just censorship, but also people too anal to live. Mm-hmm. This show, I'll be honest when I say the golden era of anime had some balls, right? Regarding the shit they could get away with.
Yeah. I mean, it is quite it is quite astonishing just comparing what we see back then especially in stuff like OVAs, to what we see now. There's still cleavage and good-looking girls, but you almost never see nipples nowadays.
I'll accept a few
Yeah.
OVAs made by a Queen Bee.
Okay, modern anime is so
You should say mainstream anime.
sterilized. Like they'll remove nipples from male characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does happen.
Wait, I'm gonna wait.
I mean,
until
how
I have
many
these
people
Dragon
we had
Ball-
apologizing for making like what is it? Izanori
Neko-
reviewers, for example.
Real quick, Neko.
Like-
I can't wait for it to happen to Dragon Ball so that there'll be a shitstorm because of how many Dragon Ball fans there are out there compared to how many people complain.
Oh yeah.
Actually, there was a recent anime that had that. Oh, fuck. It was the perverted anime, like the one where like everything was so fucking like neat and tidy, and then like the girl was like running around with underwear on her head.
Man, perverted anime is not very
It sounds
descriptive.
familiar.
Yeah,
Shimoneta.
yeah, that was it. Yeah,
Oh,
Oh,
Shimoneta.
yeah,
we-
that
yeah,
had like
we
an
need to review that
almost-
once
yeah.
someday.
That had like an almost
Well, that one
over-the-top
actually had a
scene.
male protagonist having nipples. So
The
Well,
hell
that
did I
had a
just come
female
across?
character having nipples. Hey.
Yo,
well,
MD
the
Geist, hold up.
healer,
MD Geist had
what is it?
trading
Review of a
cards.
healer. That one had nipples.
Yep. That one did.
Look at that. Real quick. That's an MD Geist card.
Oh god.
Someone got an autograph of Koichi Ohara from Koichi
Do
Ohara.
you
The previous one.
Anyway,
Josh, do you have
Yeah.
a way to quickly put an image on screen
Yes.
like that we just post? Yeah. Post one of those trading cards on stream because that's
The bottom one. That's
Bottom
the
one?
MD Geist one. The one before it is Cybernetics. Yeah.
yeah 'cause,
Cybernetics Guardian is another one we should cover at a later time.
yeah, that's something like obscure that we just dug up like right now.
all right.
Yeah,
Give me
literally.
2 seconds. I can.
And I own the comic book, which has not been scanned yet.
Oh, maybe you should scan it.
Wow.
I'm
That's a
thinking
piece
about
of history.
Do that.
Just
Yeah, definitely. Anyone else have any takes on the animation?
For the time it was
My eyes were bleeding
Why?
because it's 360p. The version that I was watching. The second one was fine,
I found a 420,
but
yeah.
well, I got 360.
Well,
What I shared was good.
It's not going to matter because I think all the rips are on VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what.
That one
OVA
and
was,
Laserdisc.
so, yeah.
I own the DVD one,
It's-
and the DVD one has an issue. There's this scene. Remember when his name is Colonel Kurt, but they call him Krutz. Remember when
Yeah.
Colonel Kurt gets introduced? He's looking at the periscope.
Oh.
Several different reviewers have mentioned that the director's cut fucks that up because they want to make it more cinematic, so it zooms out, but it looks ugly as hell because it's zooming in not on the original film, but on the fucking like the VHS basically the
God.
output. I will, you know what this stuff is called?
Yeah.
Like, instead of the
Well, this is something I kind of suspected. Because I have a copy of Bubblegum Crisis on DVD, and it's a really
Nice.
early release.
Oh
And
god.
it is very, very clearly not taken from like a scan of the original film. It's very clearly taken from either a Laserdisc or VHS. So I suspect that this was kind of common practice. It's a very high possibility that there are no releases that upscaled it by scanning the original film.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
This was
Oh
back-
man.
I mean, this was back when anime as a whole in the West was a very niche item, very niche topic. So, can I go ahead with the animation? Honestly, I personally like the. I'll be honest with you, the animation is actually pretty good. I personally like the atmosphere, since I am very much a fan of post-apocalyptic anime and post-apocalyptic as a whole. Well, this reminded me a bit of. I was gonna say a very certain martial arts anime, but I'm gonna do something else entirely. I can tell they took some ideas from Mad Max Road Warrior, especially the motorcyclists. The the mech design though, my lord, there's some gorgeous stuff. I mean, you don't see this kind of shit nowadays. Regarding I mean, this was done with cell shading. About this was done with cells. Keep in mind that. Uh, the fights though. Oh, holy shit. They were about as gory as they could get, especially the finishing blows.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I love the lancing he did. He jumped off a fucking motorcycle to spear the cockpit of a mech.
No,
They-
my favorite is the one that remember he shoved the blade into the dude's skull.
Yeah, Rambo
Oh yeah.
style. That's just I was
So
telling
good.
Lawrence that's straight up out of Rambo. Like it's like a skewed scene.
Yeah. Well, like
Definitely came from First Blood.
Yeah, well, I mean, I often talk about like in fight scenes, can you like really feel the force and impact of a blow? And you absolutely can in this, and then some. It's not just you feel the impact of the blow, but their fucking head explodes on top of that.
Crunch.
Oh yeah.
It
not
feels
ju-
like an actual crunch.
Oh yeah, not just that. Dude straight up gouges their fucking faces off. Like, goddamn. Of all the things. Imagine having MDS-02. That's ending Geist, by the way. Imagine having that motherfucker in Mortal Kombat. There's especially, and then there's a fight with MDS-01 Kotze, my bad. I probably pushed up, but we'll talk about that later.
I gotta jump in since we're still on animation. So really quickly, Josh, I'm gonna post 3 images. If you could just slowly flash them over the
Yes,
screen. This goes back to
give me
what
2 seconds
Will
for
and
that.
Lewis have said about mech design. What I really liked was the damage. It fits right into what you guys were talking about, just or whether what Will was bringing up, because that's it. The sound and the visuals for damage are great. Like when Geist is initially doing a lance, I don't know what it's called, but it's basically like what a lance would do.
It's a spear.
A spear. Well, no, I'm talking about lancer, the knights that are on horses with those giant spears.
Oh.
I
yeah.
forget. I guess it's just lancing. He's
Fence.
going up with a motor. He's pulling out a spear, while this like post-apocalyptic spear made out of some like metal and some other shit put together. He's pulling it out, driving the fucking motorcycle directly at a mech that's shooting bullets at him. Like the scene this one where it's just like a robot and some broken glass. That's his motorcycle panel. It's his perspective. Now it doesn't look amazing, but as it's breaking apart, it's like you can tell like from the sound and all that. That's flimsy. But then the other one where it's one of the Corpo mechs getting yanked off of the Federation tank. It's like scraping the fucking metal. Like the damage is great. I don't know how to put it into words. I just love like how it reminds me of actual horror. I'm sorry, not horror. Actual action films from the 80s.
Yeah.
So
Let's move on to
let
the
me just
sound
rotate these
design.
images really quick. I had to like jump into like 3
All right.
things.
Yeah.
All right. We got.
So I also have a couple. I actually have more things to say than normal.
2.
Because I have a couple things to lead off with in the sound design. One of the big things I noticed is that they straight up stole sounds from Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that.
And I only had to watch this once to notice it. Specifically, laser sound effects. They are ripped straight from Star Wars. They are the same sound effects.
There is also one sound effect, and I believe in the second one, where main guy sits in the. It's like not a gas chamber, but like close enough to it, where it looks exactly like the one that Darth Vader seats. It's like his personal cabin or whatever, like personal space.
Yeah.
It does the same sound. It's like an apple that takes basically, splits apart in the middle. It's the same exact sound. It's like,
I wonder if
what the hell?
I wonder if Lucasfilms had had copyright on those sound effects.
I don't
Doubt?
think they do, because I've heard in other movies,
Yep.
yeah, like
Even the Wilhelm scream is used. The one that
there
Well,
was
the
one
Well, it's not
Wilhelm
movie,
copyrighted.
yeah,
So
there was
No, no,
one
no,
movie
I was-
recently
go ahead.
I listened to that had like the Jurassic Park raptor sounds in it, and it just threw me out of the movie because all I could think about was like that noise coming out of that thing being a raptor instead. I was like, that's not, no. So yeah, no, like a lot of that stuff is like fair use now. So
I
Yeah.
was just gonna real quick. I was just gonna say, yeah. So a lot of movies use like stuff you'll hear and recognize, like the Wilhelm scream. But the Star Wars, certain Star Wars plasmas and lasers, especially I think the TIE fighter ones. I can't tell if it's that, but they get used a lot. And the original release, the VHS release of MD Geist, used really generic laser sounds that didn't sound that good. For the director's cut, they used the Star Wars ones, and it does a better job. As you both pointed, it's straight up just ripped from Star Wars.
Yeah. It was kind of distracting, to be honest. Like I think because they are great sound effects, but I think it would only really work, in my opinion, it would only really work if you have never seen Star Wars and you just weren't familiar with those sound effects. Because while they're fantastic sound effects, when you hear them and you notice them, all you can think about is Star Wars and lasers, blasters firing in Star Wars.
I well, mind if I interject on my own part regarding, because I have a couple of things I have to say regarding the sound design.
All right.
All right, first things first, the tank noises. Where did it? Is it me, or did they change the sounds in the dub? Not like didn't just do voice dubbing. They actually changed the noises for the Japanese version.
That's more common than you might think.
Really?
Yeah,
Mhm.
especially in really old dubs.
yep.
Yeah, because I noticed that the motorcycles in the Japanese version were not were actually futuristic sounding to fit the scene the environment. But in the case of the English dub, they switched it to regular as motorcycle noises. Like they were not exactly. How should I say this?
I'm
They
not.
weren't exactly.
Yeah.
They were a bit more realistic. Besides the tech noises, and well, I thought it was tripping but really, was it really that common to also change the Foley sounds of anime?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
it was. It goes a lot in the sound design and how they send over the mixes. Um, because whenever you're leveling sound, you usually have your sound effects separate from your main mix, separate from your vocals. so that you can mix and level like a sound effect according to how the
Yup.
vocal sounds. So whenever you have like your main mix, you can kind of turn that down, but whenever they're sending over just the main raw, sometimes like they won't use the same sound effect either because it's like too loud or like doesn't line up well. So it just goes into like how the person mixing the dub prefers things, and it's kind of a mess on that end, but just that's the general idea of how
Yeah.
mixing works.
All right, so
Let's talk about the music real quick. The
Yep,
music,
yep.
I'm gonna be honest, like maybe I'm just a sucker for 80s music, but I absolutely loved the music. I thought it was fantastic.
yeah. Yeah.
It's sort of a mixture of synth pop, glam rock, and there's even some sort of more technical stuff like stuff prog rock bands would have done in the 80s, like like stuff like
Anything that Yes
that
would
you might
make.
see on like later Yes or Pink Floyd albums.
Yeah.
I thought I thought it was really good. I know a lot of people really don't like 80s synth sounds, but I think the low fidelity samples and low fidelity FM synthesis produces such a unique sound that it I think it really gives a lot of character to music that was being made at the time, and it really shows in this in this soundtrack. It is absolutely fantastic. It is just banger after banger after banger. It's great stuff.
Yeah, that like this has, and I had to check the run date because like I know it was like 99, but like they had like the same feel for like the music. It has the same audio effect on me as like I don't know if you guys seen Black Heaven.
Mhm.
No,
Yep.
No, no, what that is.
It's yeah.
It's a
It's
it's an
something.
anime. It's about rock music kind of. I'm not getting into it.
Sort
But
of.
like any time that like an 80s and 90s anime had like good rock music, like it always sounds like there's a lot of American influence, but Japan just does it slightly better sometimes. Where like I can listen to an entire Yes album. I can listen to all the classic rock I want, and then like I'll pick and choose my favorite songs. But it's always with like Japanese, where it might not hit like the same highs as like Roundabout, as like it just like you don't get those highs, but you can listen to that entire album and it's just awesome the entire way through. So like that's same kind of feel as I got for this, where like anytime that there was good like music, it was amazing. It wasn't like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, but it solid 7.58 every single time. And you know, again, that's for like an AMV. First off, that's very impressive. Or sorry, OVA. But like in general, just Japan always kills it like that.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of very very talented musicians in Japan. I think like I think America, Canada, and Britain, uh, like the English speaking world, uh, probably produced the best music of the 20th century. But I think Japan is a very close second to the English speaking world. They're very very good.
Yeah, the
Um,
Japanese take their music very seriously.
Yeah,
No shit.
definitely.
There's
Um,
actually a thing that I've heard Iranians say, because Japan is seen like as one of the apex nations of Asia, if not the apex nation of Asia. Basically, it's not a saying, but I keep hearing Persians say it. Basically, when the Japanese want to do something, they really they really go for it. Or like in modern speak, they'd be like when the Japanese want to start doing anything, music, art, whatever, they go full ham. They have zero chill. They go instead of volume 10, they're at 11. If you know the Spinal Tap joke.
Oh yeah. Why don't you just make 10 louder?
Yep.
Boost it to 11.
All right. Anyway, I think that's a good place to leave off. Let's go to where it starts to get really bad.
Oh boy.
Let's go to the characters.
Oh god. Well,
Can I do it?
I don't know about
yeah,
that
go
because
ahead.
there's one character that I really like, and
Did
she
you
has a
see
lot
her
of plot.
tits? Did you
Yes.
see her tits? All right. Yeah.
You like Vaya?
I was gonna say.
I mean, she was the only character in the
Hold
freaking
up.
thing.
I was gonna say there's a few characters, and most of them you don't
They're-
actually get any plot development on because they die
no,
within 5 seconds.
They
Yeah,
are
no,
two.
I actually
They're
have one-
two
once-
characters. They're very round and they're right next to one another.
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say real quick. There's one character in particular that this applies extra to, and I'm gonna quickly just talk about the characters right-sized. The president. I forget his name. I'm the guy that knows more about MD Geist than I would argue like 70% of the tiny MD Geist fan base. The president of Jera, who's tied to the Earth Federation.
You should
One
get a little
person-
closer to your mic.
Okay. Or am I being loud or what?
There we go. That's better.
Okay, awesome. So, the sole person responsible for everything, because the comics even show it. What's funny is I'll get to the comics in a second. So Geist was supposed to be sentenced to death because of a fuck up by Colonel Kurtz. Colonel Kurtz orders him. This is not something you'd see in the OVA. This is the problem. This was the same problem we had with Sinbad for the Magi anime, where you have to have prior knowledge.
President Ryan.
Huh?
Yeah, it's President Ryan.
President Ryan, thank you. So, like, here's the problem. I'm just gonna go off. The backstory wasn't even written until after Manga Entertainment, who they have the Western rights to for broadcasting Ghost in the Shell. That's the most popular thing they own that I can mention off the top of my head. They had they had to fund that. Their former CEO, I don't know if he's still alive. Lawrence has jokingly compared me to him because of how much I like this. Like a lot of people, they either hate Geist or they're good with it. But Lawrence is like, okay, dude, this is a niche market, and you are like digging into a hole that even the regular fans have stopped digging into. Hold up, I gotta say this. Manga Entertainment funded comic book. It's not manga; it's straight up a comic book.
Oh
But
god.
anyways, so all of this happens because when Colonel Kurtz orders Geist, who is genetically like super autistic, I'm not even joking. Like he follows orders like a dog because he's been created to. That like the fucking movie Soldier I brought up. That's what those soldiers were in that 90s film. They're like dogs basically. They followed orders like robots. Kurtz tells them, no matter what happens, I'm giving you an order. Do not open your mouth. I'm not gonna spoil anything with more than the person who was vouching for Geist was begging him to stop and save her because her helicopter was crashed. Or I'm sorry, no, her air vehicle was she was on was air vehicle she was on was crashing and just whizzing by. He looks at her and just then looks away. Like you know, like when you go to somebody's house and their dog doesn't know you, and the dog is like looking at other shit, and you're like, hey, buddy, or like you see a dog in public, looks at you for a second and looks away. That's Geist. Like, even though she brought him. She was vouching for the program to create more soldiers like him because the colonel outranked her. He just said, "Oh, you're dying. I'm sorry. The colonel said that I just need to go back to the whatever and have a nice day." And they just and she's horrified because she realizes why everyone else sees him as a monster because he doesn't have any compassion when he doesn't need he does i.e. If he sees you dying and you're on his side, if his orders are just keep going forward, he'll just keep going forward. He's like the perfect soldier. Anyways, all of this happened. The entire movie happened because President Ryan felt that it was immoral to kill somebody who could. TLDR, the man has autism. Please don't execute him. Just put him in jail. Like they put him in high. Yes,
Oh my god.
basically it.
It's not in the show. You're lying. It cannot be a fucking story.
Oh no,
It's not in the show.
Remember that German phrase that he says to Kurtz when Kurtz is like telling Vaya, "Get the hell out of here. We're not going to give you money for saving us from the Corpo troops." Vaya's trying to pull him away.
None of this shit is in the fucking film.
Oh, this is in the film, dumbass. This is in the film. So when Vaya's pulling him away and saying, "Come on, guys, let's go somewhere else," because they weren't paying them, he resists. He just stands still. He looks the colonel straight in the eye. Goes Olga something Vine in German. It translates into, I think, that was his verdict. It's like death sentence.
Yeah.
I thought when I heard that first time watching, I thought that was I thought hold on, Neko. I thought that was a Marine thing, like how Marines yell Semper Fi. I thought that's what that was because there's all these German names like Hans and Kurtz and stuff like that. No, that was the sentence he got at the hearing where they said what the hell happened? Everyone except you and Kurtz died. What happened? He just kept his mouth shut. So then Kurtz built a case against him because Kurtz felt like he was a monster.
How are we supposed to know that?
No, that's the problem. That is the biggest problem with this. It's not even in the film. But that's what I'm saying. That is bad. That is beyond bad. Yeah. Because
all right,
when I hear something, hold up. Really quick. When I hear him say that, and my assumption is, this must be like Semper Fi, but it turns out completely different context. He's saying, "I still remember what you told me," as in, I haven't forgotten, dude.
We're about
it reminds me when people going back to a Doom analogy. It's like guts, huge guts. Yes. It's the same kind of stupid shit.
Hold on. We're about 5 to 7 minutes into talking about the characters, and we haven't talked about a single one of them.
Yeah, no, I have because
I think we brought up two names.
I can quickly do by yeah. Okay.
2 tits.
All right.
Yeah.
Hold
That's
up.
enough.
You guys don't interrupt. Hold up, Neko. Just 1 second. Jesus Christ. President Ryan. He's the guy that basically stops him from getting killed. He gets assassinated. Death Force protocol.
This is all plot stuff.
Hold up. The idea is if he dies, they have to activate Death Force. Colonel Kurtz, Geist superior, one of the only surviving military leaders in the post-apocalyptic setting. He wants to shut down. It's heavily implied that he's Christian. He does not like the idea of artificial humans and like Terminators to wipe out people. He doesn't care if his side loses. He just doesn't want that. You got Vaya, who's basically like the classic hyena. She just hops from person to person.
She just
the moment her boyfriend gets killed, she immediately starts like worshiping Geist. You know what I'm talking about, Neko? She just jumps. She just
Yep.
She starts ovulating the moment he dies.
Well, that night, even though Geist took her by the hair and threw her off the bed, I'm not having sex with you. Get the fuck off the bed.
Get out of here, woman.
That is
I
a
did not need you.
survival instinct by every single way possible. That's very, very, very common. But
that is
seems so out of place if you don't understand that it's a survival instinct. It's like, oh, you just destroyed him. All right, you want to be with me? It's
you get it.
Yeah, no.
There people are forced. She actually says that to Kurtz when she's getting yelled at, like, we're not going to pay you. And she's like, look, I'm only a hyena because you guys turned our world into a fucking battlefield. Like, I have to be like this. Anywho, so what she says, remember I can't let Geist go. You know, I finally found a man who can face death itself, and it's like, bro, he doesn't care about anyone. Anyways, so. You got her gang. I don't even want to bother trying to remember their names. They're motorcycle gang, basically. You have her.
They're like irrelevant.
Yeah. Well, their backstory. They actually added an additional scene because of them in the director's cut, where they're saying goodbye to Vaya to explain why she's the only one on the fucking ship. You can tell by the animation difference. Like, they were done at different times.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So. Yes, Lewis, go ahead and put the CEO of Manga Entertainment on your. Anywho, so then there's Krauser, who is Geist's like technical brother. They're both created in test tubes. And I swear, I'm not saying to diss on fellow autistic people. Like, I've got autism and OCD, but it's like mild. Still, I don't want to diss on people that have heavier autism. So these two have the stereotypical Spurg autism. Krauser loves attention. He loves LARPing. He loves being like, I am sent by God and I will rescue all of. He insists that they put wings, like they paint his fucking mech suit, or his power suit white with white wings. He wants to be seen as like this angelic prince. And then you have Geist, who's the silent autist that just grabs your fucking toy in the playground that starts beating the shit out of you if you try to take it back.
Oh God,
that is accurate. That is accurate, actually.
That's spicy. Okay.
No, that's the thing. They're genetically modified humans, and in order to have soldiers who will obey you, that's
yeah.
Even Dr. Preston, they call him Breston. Dr. Preston, the guy that gets all obsessed with Geist in part 2, that's another character. He's obsessed with Geist and Krauser, and he states Krauser is that idiot Krauser. He's actually the inferior one, and he doesn't get it because he's like, no, clearly I'm better than Geist because I have a frontal lobe function. It's like, no, idiot. Geist was created to follow orders. You're just the failed, like, you don't listen to us when we tell you. And finally, you have the villains that cause all this, which is Nextrum. Nextrum. No, hold up. That force I will mention right after this. Nextrum is a mega corporation that is from Earth originally. They got shut down. It's heavily indicated because if Cybernetics Guardian, if you post this shit real quick, Josh. Cybernetics Guardian is a film that takes place in a futuristic Earth. This movie is actually good enough that it gets bundled every now and then with like other cyberpunk animes. I think it was like either Bubblegum Crisis or Tokyo something. That anywho, what I was getting at was this. These guys are basically the big bad. They're like Lex Luthor. They're obsessed with power and money. In fact, they even had like a cult in Cybernetics Guardian. They had like this Scientology style cult, which is funny because Scientology didn't exist back then. But the idea that rich idiots will form cults did exist back then, and they get their shit kicked in. Like one of their employees takes a mech suit, kicks the shit out of them. Well, they're back on Jera, and they're trying to build essentially a base of operations. None of this is mentioned. It's all just bits and pieces put together because the director himself said, he was young when he made it, wasn't, clearly. So for all I know, he could have been like bullshitting it, and then the comics and other stuff was added later, which is more likely the case. Anyways, Death Force, as Lewis mentioned, is the final solution. I'm saying that on purpose, like Hitler's final solution. If the planet is taken over by Nextrum in order to stop, the equivalent of Wall Street from coming back, the Earth Federation built a Terminator system, like Skynet. I'm not even exaggerating. That's what that is. It's a self-replicating, autonomous military force of Terminators ordered to kill every living being on the planet. It doesn't matter what they are. Just if it has a life force, it's a thought, And Those are the those are the important characters. That's it. I'm not going to go into the other ones because
All right, so I
I
guess
cannot even.
so. Yeah, I guess. All right, so I think one of the big problems with this show is that the characters they don't get any time to breathe.
Oh.
They don't really get any time to for the viewer to really get to know them. Like I don't really know what beyond one or two characters. I don't really know why they do the things that they do, what makes them tick, why they're what the things that they think, their opinions, the things that they feel. Because we spend so little time with them, and because there's so much happening during that very short time, we don't they don't really feel like people.
Yeah.
And you don't really get to know them like they're people.
Yeah, I mean, you explained basically the entire plot.
Yeah.
And
indirectly.
whenever I mean you but you
We
explained
haven't talked
the
about
plot.
part 2, have we? Part 2 is hilarious, but
Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
But okay, you've explained the plot while trying to explain the characters, and that's the issue. Is if you're explaining the plot to explain a character, then you aren't explaining the character. The plot is just driving a character without the character being a character.
Well,
Empty
no,
Geist. Well, kind of I
Mm.
might have messed up how I said that, but MD Geist, his entire character is just I'm going to kill everything. This other guy that gets obsessed with him, later in, is only obsessed with being the best and being the one in charge. There was a scientist that
Preston. Yeah, Preston.
Yeah, that knew that Geist was more of what they were trying to create because they were trying to create super soldiers that would just kill, and that was it. And this other guy had an ego. We have a girl that's basically just survival instinct.
Yeah.
That's the only character that that's the character descriptions. I can say that,
Yeah.
and that's the entire character. There is nothing deeper than that, and that's super boring. And
Yeah.
we'll get into the plot in a second, but whenever what I said in the chat before we even started was this starts off on a level where it's just oh shit, this is gonna be hype, and it stays at that level the entire time. It plateaus from the beginning. It dips a little bit with some of the scenes, but it basically plateaus. If there's no spikes throughout an entire show, it just becomes mindless killing and boring because you've already desensitized yourself to what level it's going to be. So that's basically what we're getting. We're getting no character development. We're just getting killing, and we're not getting a real story other than this guy is going out and killing. And unless you know all that backstory, like you're saying, we don't know and we don't care is the issue. And I get why you love it, but this is so boring.
All right.
I'll bring
Neko
a better
has
analogy,
something.
I think.
Yep.
Think about this anime as for example, you have Code Geass, right?
Quick, yo, 1 second. After you're done, I want to throw in a quick bite, one sentence bite. Go ahead.
Just let him
Alright.
talk, man.
So,
Yeah.
imagine you have Code Geass, right? But you cut away from 24 episodes, pretty much all the plot, and leave just Karen being in the bunny suit and the mech fights. That's it.
Yeah.
Not even an
Pretty
ending.
accurate.
That's it.
I like Empty Guys, but that's pretty accurate. I was gonna say, Josh,
this show.
This is what I immediately the visual imagery that came to my head. Geist is so this war and all that. One sentence. If that war is a raging river, he's the asshole that's grabbing onto the other people trying to swim to shore.
I mean, look, even
No.
for that time, you look at, for example, something like I know it's not from the same era, but like Mars of Destruction, for example, even that shit has a better fucking plot.
Yeah.
And that one
speaking
has
of
like
that,
19 minutes.
Well,
It's horrific,
Yep.
but it has a better plot.
okay.
Well, speaking of speaking
just-
of that, since we've basically already described the entire plot, I think we should all just lay out
Yep.
whatever criticisms we have of it.
Yeah.
To try to hopefully not go too far over time.
Yeah.
Well,
I-
we'll see about
yeah,
that.
let me
Oh,
just-
we're already gonna go
Yeah,
over
yeah,
time
we will.
without a doubt.
Let me just start because like it's so like they were telling me like hey, like stay away from like the mech criticism. This isn't my normal mech criticism. This is just like I barely considered it a mech show. Like it was there was mechs in it, cool. Um but it was basically just flat. Like it was a flat show. Like there was nothing interesting about it. I was just getting bored with the fight scenes. Like a lot of them were really cool. A lot of them were really graphic. The design, like the sound design, was okay. The music score was amazing, but there the plot was very, very, very simple, which can be a plus sometimes, but it was a detriment this time. The characters had no growth. They had no reason. We had no care for them. So I don't care about the characters. I don't care about the plot because like it's post-apocalyptic and we kind of knew where it was going. We just get this super soldier and he's just able to kill everyone, and that's all we're really getting. Other than like, it's like we get kind of the twist ending. Oh, they're gonna go in, they're gonna stop it from being like this uh crazy destruction, and then he's like, then he turns it back on, and they're like, why did you do that? And he's just smiling. It's like obviously he just wants to continue killing. That he's just a berserker. That's the entire plot, and it's like, and then you get into the second story, and it's basically the same thing, and it's boring. It's a little bit better. I think the second story was slightly better, but it's still boring.
I think the second story is worse.
Okay.
Hold up, I just want to say one thing. It's an inversion of the first one. Would you agree on that? Because in the first one, he crash lands on this party. Like this thing is going on. It comes to him.
Yeah.
Whereas the other one, he's out there. Like he even like a fucking robot. He uses a civilian as bait to lure out the Terminators after everyone else dies. And he goes, "Thank you for your service to the regular military." And the guy's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like,
yeah. I think the second one.
He then seeks. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the second one, and like this is just slightly differing opinions. On just I think both were trash, but one was slightly better. The second one I enjoyed
Had more money
because
pumped into it.
I already knew what I was expecting going into it, and then on top of that, it just kind of like had a little bit better twist because he was fighting someone that was supposed to be at his level. And then you're like, okay, maybe there's a little bit more here. And there was a slight bit more plot-wise and slight bit more character-wise, but outside of that, like, a little bit better fight scenes, and that's it.
I think the second one's plot was worse than the first one for a couple reasons. First of all, like, both of them made this mistake, but I think the second one made it even worse than the first one. And that is that they tried to cram way too much in way too short of amount of time. And the second one did even more of that. To the point where it probably 10 minutes past the first scene, they started talking about a cyborg going after MD Geist, and then just reality just kind of slipped away, and then there were just a whole bunch of disjointed scenes that were just hastily slapped together to the point where I couldn't even had difficulty even understanding what was happening, where that never even happened in the
Which
first
one are
one.
you talking about? Are you talking about how like it
It was like Cyborg going after MD Geist. Wait. How's the Cyborg already? No, wait. What's going on? Why is he fighting? He's fighting Geist. Is he fighting Geist? Okay, he's fighting Geist. Wait, what's this about?
and then there's a
what's
and then
this
there's
about
a fucking,
the
there's
doctor?
there's a
What is going on?
Death Force robot attacking while Geist, he's trying to fight something, and then the cyborg attacks him.
It was just too much too quickly. It felt disjointed. Where like the first one, it was too much plot in too short of a time, but it was never like hard to follow. And then on top of that, there in the first one, the plot was bad, but there weren't like any. I was never like yelling at the screen, going, "Why are you doing this? Why are you acting like a fucking idiot?" Where there were like several moments like that in the second one. In particular, the first fight between what's his face and MD Geist in the second one. He like knocks him off of a he like knocks Geist off of a long drop, and
Bowser.
yeah, and then he just
B01.
he just assumes that Geist is dead
Yeah,
for
'cause
no
he's an idiot.
reason.
Because
Like,
he's an idiot.
yeah, but he's not an idiot. That's the thing.
No. He is, because hold up. This is when I say I don't like lower functioning sociopaths and retards that are too clever to be clever. He thinks that Geist will be stuck down there, and all he needed was the WrestleMania kayfabe of "I am your protector and your
Well, it's
prince."
like he could have easily just sent
Told
a
him-
guy to go check on the body.
That's too smart.
Yeah, no, that would break kayfabe. That's if you're an idiot trying very hard to play savior. You've probably come across people like this before, Will, on the internet especially. You come across somebody who thinks that they can manipulate an entire situation so they look good. They will not ask for help, even if it's detrimental. They will, to the end, demand that you partake in the delusion, whether it harms them or not. Which is what he did. when Vaya tried to warn him, he threw her into a fucking mental asylum. Actually.
Yeah, that's another thing, is like they were like about they were like it was like they were lovers, and then like 5 seconds later you're going into the mental asylum. It just does.
Well,
I mean,
to be honest, she
none of it
kind of went
really-
insane when the guys showed up. She's like,
Yeah.
"He's a god of death. He's gonna kill us all."
But as a matter of fact, she did lose her damn mind when she totally remembered.
I don't know, the entire thing just.
I mean,
I mean, really, the entire plot, like it wasn't like necessarily nonsensical, but it was like poorly constructed. Like it needed about 4 or 5 rewrites before it was like it needed a lot more time in the oven. The writers needed to make more drafts to make it good,
Bill,
and
real
they
quick,
just didn't.
So, like,
Uh,
would you say aside from that, the implementation was crude? Like, because that was
Everything was crude.
yeah, because like that, what I just said there, they could have at least explained why he's doing that. Like, I don't have to guess from what the doctor said about him and how he himself is an egomaniac. I don't want to check on Geist because I killed him. How dare you say that I didn't? Yeah, no, like they could have done that better, because it just looks, to somebody who's not thinking this guy's an idiot who thinks he's clever, you're just gonna think like this is nonsensical as fuck. What the fuck's going on? Which is also a correct answer. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
There's also a moment in the end, I don't care about spoiling the show. The show's bad.
Well,
Where
OVA movie.
yeah, OVA, where he goes to stab MD Geist, and then like all of a sudden there's a child there that he stabs through,
Uh,
and
yep.
like it's not
kid's death-
telegraphed. It's not telegraphed at all. It's like, where the fuck did the kid come from?
Well, I think they showed it right before the last scene that they had, that there was a kid.
Well,
No,
no,
They
the
didn't
kid was.
telegraph the fact that he would be in the front of the
Yeah,
spear,
It's
essentially.
like it. Like maybe if the kid like really liked MD Geist for some reason, and he like went
no, Krauser. He liked
no
Krauser.
and ran in
Krauser.
front of the spear, that maybe
Yeah, no,
that
he
would
was the
make
kid
sense.
in the. He and Vaya. This is. I'm just gonna quickly say this at the beginning, where that kid and Vaya get rescued from the caravan of the poor bastards who are like the remaining humans on the planet. Some of the remaining humans on the planet.
Yep.
Did you notice how he took his time saving them so that most of them died, and how there was a handful of them so they could be brainwashed into thinking you're going to work for free. You're going to be a fucking a nicely dressed servant in this castle because you owe
can
Krauser
live
your life.
without Kosa.
Child, huh?
Yeah, you owe your life to Kosa. No one else.
That is a line in the movie, and this kid is like worshiping Krauser, but you don't see that past the one scene where he goes, when he's handed his uniform.
That was like the
Hey,
funniest thing to me, because
God.
like whenever like it was like, you're going to do this, and like the kid was looking at the uniform like confused, like it's like, this is my life now, like what the fuck, and then just looks up at him and goes, okay, like yay, I get to like just be a fucking slave now, I guess. Like it was so fucking like it did not mesh.
I am a slave for Kosa. Hail, Lord
he jumps
Kosa!
jumps in front of him. Dude, the death sound. That's what I was making fun of. Like he doesn't even sound like he's dying.
I offer myself as sacrifice. That's what the kid was
Does
saying.
anybody remember that in the dub? In the dub, the death noise they used for the kid was just what the voice actor going
Yeah.
I'm glad the voice actor cared as much as I did.
Yeah,
I glad it was Japanese dub, but that's just me, I guess.
Okay.
yeah, I did too. I actually couldn't find the English dub of it for some
I
reason.
posted it. What the fuck?
Nah.
Oh, I don't know.
see
I
it.
just went to torrent it.
Yeah.
But
I mean-
anyway,
I
um,
found a better site.
anyway, let's since we're already over time, let's do our wrap ups and ratings.
All right, I guess.
Oh boy.
I'm always first. Oh god. I don't even know where to fucking start. It's like
Yeah,
we
just go
watched
off, dude.
we watched an hour and a half of this stupid fucking show, and we just talked about it for an hour. There's not much
There's
to really
nothing to
fucking
say.
say. Yeah, like there isn't. Basically everything that was said was said. The audio is like, the soundtrack was good. The audio was okay. The graphics were decent for its time. This plot was a fucking nightmare. And the characters were boring as fuck. If you want to watch a stab gore fest, there's better things. But I guess if you care about like watching a classic stabbing gore fest with some mechs, it's not the worst thing to watch. So like personally, I'd give it like a 3 or a 4, but like, yeah, I'll give it like a 3.5.
I would have never watched that pile of shit. Like, look, I would subject myself to, sounding with the hot rod. Like, really, put the hot rod on the fucking, I don't know, like in magma or something, and then sound me in with that thing. I would prefer this over watching that garbage. Fuck it. First one is 1 out of 10. The second one is 3 out of 10.
RJ.
Okay.
Man, this shit's getting murdered.
What's up?
Wrap up and rating. What Final
yeah,
thoughts.
You're laughing. Okay, I thought you found something funny to say beforehand. I was like, anyways, final thoughts. Quickly, as I said, second movie's an inversion of the first movie, and the only people that got what they wanted, the only person that got what they actually wanted was the fucking cyborg. That's like he just wanted to not be a slave, and he got it by helping Geist. Everyone had died around him except for like 3 other people, including Vaya, and then it just ends abruptly. Like it's just like they're all looking into the horizon, unsure about the future, because Anywho,
Don't tell me there's a sequel to that garbage as well.
there's no part 3. There's no part 3.
Oh, thank fucking
Manga
God.
Entertainment doesn't have enough money for it.
Oh.
Gosh, quickly before we close up here, Louis, did you send him the fucking CEO? Did we post that yet? The
Yeah,
old guy who
Yeah.
insisted
Yeah.
that they
Yeah, I
okay,
told
good.
you his name is John O'Connell.
O'Donnell.
He apparently really liked 80s action films, and he thought that this would sell because at the time that's what was selling in theaters. But remember, this was a period where people didn't see anime as
Sorry, John
as
O'Donnell.
animated
My bad.
films. O'Donnell, yes.
So I was right that it was my beginning summary of 20 words or less was exactly what the CEO of the fucking company thought. Is that what you're saying? That it was an American fucking? Oh my god! Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, he
I
felt
nailed it
that
without
because-
fucking nailing.
because
Fuck you.
like okay, dude. Arnold Schwarzenegger's films, all of them, from Conan to fucking Running Man to Total Recall, all of the Stallone films, Jean-Claude Van Damme, these were selling at that time. The poor guy, the CEO, kind of forgot something. Most people saw anime as fucking cartoons for children at the time. Hell, even in Asia, dude. Like, not just here. So he was like, I know how we could make money. Let's pour all this money into this action hero. And it's like, dude, you're not gonna get the next Stallone. What the fuck are you doing? But
It's not
I
even
have to say,
Stallone.
I like it.
Dude,
All right. Let's.
those films at least had a better fucking story. Yeah, they were dumb,
Yeah,
but they have a fucking.
No.
Okay.
Final thoughts. That and I just like these two because they're just actiony with mechs and like just manly like shit. I like Contra. I like that 80s aesthetic. Like buff dudes with guns running down, surviving against impossible odds, like actually impossible odds. Yeah, that's MD Geist. But also the guy is also the villain because he's programmed to not think. So, anywho, I like it. Mechs, guns, commandos, my kind of shit. So,
Titties.
but terrible writing, like bad writing. As Neko put it, even the fucking Arnold films had actual logic in their story.
No shit.
Logic that was presented in the movie. You didn't have to read fucking Terminator comic books to understand how the story went.
What's your score?
I have to be honest. So I guess 7 out of 10, but it's still gonna be one of my favorites. And I'm being generous.
All right. Just
Oh,
as a quick aside, Neko, you gave 2 scores for each one.
Well, he said
Yes.
3, so I just put it as a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll give it 2. Yeah, okay.
All right, Striker.
Man, if there's one person I feel sorry the most tonight, it's RJ because one of his favorite animes got fucking massacred. Holy shit.
It's like kicking a baby.
This is why I don't let people
Yeah,
watch my favorite
dude.
anime because they would destroy it too.
yeah.
I know I shared on you because I hated Oregairu.
My favorite anime is Big O.
Wait,
This is
wait,
my top.
so-
Hold up. My favorite anime is Big O. Second favorite onwards is the Toonami lineup, like Outlaw Star, Gundam Wing. This just happens to be my top 5. Like that's it. That's all that
Wait.
is. Like it or my top 10, top 5, whatever.
All right.
Wait. Speaking of the best anime that you like, wait. You all hate Black Bible? Seriously?
All right.
The fuck, dude.
Let Striker talk. Come on.
Let him
Well,
talk.
you are shut. All right. All right. This is actually a rewatch. I have actually watched the show both OVAs before. And I'll be honest with you, the voice acting in English fucking sucks. It does. The Japanese voice acting, it was actually alright, but the English dub has what I call Hong Kong syndrome. This is where the dub is it's overacted to the point it sounds like a 1970s Hong Kong movie. Honestly,
The voice acting.
yeah. Yeah,
That's a good comparison. That's a good comparison.
yeah. You know why I told you that I couldn't stomach most English voice actors because of shit like this. RJ.
Oh, that was it. I
I'll
was agreeing with you.
Yeah, I know. Truth be told, I did watch the MD guys in Japanese. At least the first one. The second one, I didn't have the time for it. I did watch both in English. And interesting fact, the Japanese version, both the director's cut and the original were actually recasted. Like they had
Can we
two voice
also
actors
rate
in each. They actually had two voice actors in the Japanese version. All right, so I'm not gonna mention them, but I'll be honest with you. This show is pretty fucking bad, but it's so bad that it's actually kind of good. It's actually kind of good. Like it's the kind of show that you just watch just for the hell of it, even if it's absolutely fucking horrible. I mean, I've seen worse, to be honest with you. But here's the thing. MD Geist as a character is basically, and I'm talking strictly aesthetics. It's from from a bygone era, and that bygone era happens to be the era of the masculine man in media. Way before the early 2000s, most of the characters would have to be very, very masculine. Like these motherfuckers would be emulating stuff from from movies like you guys said. Sylvester Stallone with Cobra. You got Jean-Claude Van Damme with Universal Soldier. You got Casper Van Dien with how should I say this? Starship Troopers. And Arnold Schwarzenegger with Terminator. You had to be this jacked up motherfucker who could lift a fucking truck. And honestly, we fucking loved it. This is actually from this is something that will never be a thing again because of certain bunch of cat ladies who have nothing else to do on the internet but to tweet bullshit on Twitter.
Hold up. It's even worse than you think because I had this discussion with Lawrence. I'm going to boil it down so we don't have any idiots trying to drag this into politics down the road. The Fujoshi crowd. No one likes them. Even political people call them problematic. That's what anime is aimed at these days. I get what Lewis is talking about. Lawrence and I were talking about it. There's nothing we can do to undo it. It has stained it turned anime into K-pop. As in, all the characters have to be lanky and annoying and I'm so misunderstood. Like, no, idiot, you're not misunderstood. You're just a lazy piece of shit that just sits around doing nothing. Go kill yourself. Ironically. like Death Note. Death Note, you shouldn't feel bad for the main character. You should just ask, why didn't you kill yourself sooner, asshole?
You know what I just found out? This show actually has an abridged version.
Oh god.
Yeah.
MDA guys. What the fuck? I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, I'm on Tree Trolls right now. It's called MDA Guys Most Dangerous Abridged.
Oh.
And all right. So I'm gonna be
Is it also better than Sword Art Online original? Because the abridged series of that is way better too.
If you ever pick Sword Art Online, I'm watching the abridged version. I am not touching the original, and I will tell you personally to go fuck yourself if that happens.
Anyway,
and fuck your mother. Fuck your mother. Fuck
you guys want to? I just wanted to ask. You guys want to rate the soundtrack separately? You guys want to rate the soundtrack
10 out
separately?
of 10.
10 out of 10.
9.
All right. So the tangent is basically MD
God
guys.
Damn it, Lewis. Neko rating real quick for the soundtrack.
I was trying to get my score to the anime, dude. What the hell?
Yeah. Stop interrupting Lewis. Come on.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ, people. All right. I'll be honest with you. This show is a 5. I'm sorry, but as much as I enjoyed rewatching this show, it is a product of its time, and yes, that's even with all the good things I said. This show has great animation. This show has brilliant hand colored cell animation. This is the kind of stuff you won't see every day, at least nowadays, because of computers. I mean, back in the day, people used to do it. Used to never mind. I was gonna mention something about the voice actors and shit, but you can look it up on Google. And yeah, 5 out of 10. Fuck it. We're all out of time anyway.
All right.
God.
So
Soundtrack rating.
if
Lewis. God
yeah,
damn it.
soundtrack is 10 out of 10.
Lewis, what do you Lewis and Echo ratings? Soundtrack now.
6.
Soundtrack 6. Lewis, what about
Yeah.
you?
Regarding the soundtrack,
Yes.
Yep.
Rate the soundtrack.
7 actually.
That's what I was trying to get at. I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's what I was trying to ask you. So good.
Yeah. Well, you
7,
guys
6, and 3
interrupted
10s.
Lewis
Or,
like
no,
3 times. So
two 10s, 1 9, 6, and a 7.
all right. Anyway, so as far as this show goes, like I can see where some of the appeal is to it. Like it's very action packed. It's very imaginative. It's got it's got some cool ideas to it.
Mhm.
And there's obviously quite a fair amount of talent behind it as a great soundtrack, as great animation for the time. But it really feels like the show was made by artists and not writers. And the result is that it succeeds in it succeeds aesthetically, but it fails in the places that matter the most. And if it succeeded in the characters and the plot, as well as it succeeded in the animation and the sound design and music, it would probably be considered a must-watch classic. But it just doesn't. It fails so profoundly in plot and character that I have to give it a 3.
Oof.
Like it is horrible. It is one of it as far as plot and characters go. It is one of the worst shows I have ever seen.
Agree.
It is like I think I don't remember what I rated the Devil May Cry anime. But that one had like worse aesthetics, but you could kind of get behind the characters, and then the plot was horrible.
And then
you can't get behind anything but the aesthetics in this show. It's horrible.
Pardon me, but also remember when we re-rated Kyoko Suiri as an inspector, and it ended up being like a 5.4.
Yeah, that show was bad.
I mean,
yeah, but that's not as bad as this. Come on.
Yeah, it gets a little murky because there's between 4 and 6 of us rating a show every time, and it also has to like the ratings we give are strongly influenced by how we feel at the time. Yeah. Do the number crunching. What did we rate it?
We rated this. I think it was a 4.1, and the soundtrack, just to throw that in there for comparison, that was an 8.4. So, yeah, the soundtrack is on the high end, and I think that was actually saving it for most of us. So go ahead.
Yeah, if it like normally like if a good show, like if a kind of decent show has a really good soundtrack, I'll like it quite a bit. But like the soundtrack can't possibly save this. No matter how good it is. It could be the best music I've ever heard. It won't save this.
No.
Only way I've seen it is someone made it. You know those AMVs. Someone took high quality rips or higher quality rips from MD Geist and put it together for Violence of the Flame.
Yeah.
I
would recommend. I would recommend if you're a big fan of retro anime. I don't care how much stuff you've seen. I don't care how many shows you've watched. I don't care if this is the last anime made before the year 2000 that you haven't seen. I don't think it's worth your time. I think it's a waste. It's short, but it's still a waste. It's a waste of an hour and a half.
I think I can't agree with that entirely. If you want a guilty pleasure, watch it.
If you want a guilty pleasure, it's not even really guilty. Just freaking listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what nostalgia critics and other people would call films like Judge Dredd with Stallone in it. Like, yeah, it's not great by any means. Blah blah. I liked that movie, but yeah, it's like people like that, they call it guilty pleasure.
Yeah, but
Like
Judge
Jump
Dredd was funny.
Yeah, like
That one has
This
a
isn't.
well, there was
Yeah.
so many shows that I have said I can see why other people like it, but I don't. Right? I have said that on multiple shows. I cannot say that about this. I do not see why people like it. Like that's the difference.
guys, can I add something?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
After you add that thing, we're
Yes, I
gonna
know.
sign off.
All right, this is gonna be more about the in defense of this is gonna be more the likes of the fact that MD guys falls on a category that most people usually don't comprehend. This is actually I mean, let's be honest here. This is in fact niche, but there's a reason why this show became a cult classic in the same way that Planet 9 from Outer Space is, or the 1992 space movie from Denmark. And it is, in the end, what it's going to be nothing more than two OVAs that are called classics. And frankly, that's okay. That's as far as they will go. And yeah, I'm afraid that it's not for everybody, and it's in a sense that some things are not for the mainstream or anyone else. So unless you're a hipster, you might as well take a look, or you'll be feel like horrible shit. Will, take it away, man.
All right. So that was our podcast for January 2022. I hope everyone had a good month. I hope everyone has an excellent February, and we'll be rejoining you. Yeah. You guys have a good night.